we are not looking at taxes right now, increases, because we must first balance our checkbook. We have an obligation to have a budget that's fiscally sound.
Right here for you tonight at 5 o'clock, that's JCPS Superintendent Brian Yearwood talking about the district's budget for next year. It's in dire shape, as you've been hearing. But this, his first public comment since the mess was revealed. He says they need to cut $132 million in spending by next fall. And hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on WHAS 11 Plus for our newscast tonight. I'm Doug Proffitt. WHAS 11's Isaiah Kim Martinez and photojournalist Gabby DeGeorge covered that news conference today. And Isaiah, they really haven't explained the way out of this since it became known. Did we get an inkling on this at anything today?
They gave a little bit, basically saying the central office, those administrative jobs are going to kind of be where they start and then go from there. But Brian Yearwood did tell me, Doug, that all options, or I guess, in fact, the better way to say this is no options are off the table at this point. But here are some of the big takeaways from that news conference here today. Again, from Superintendent Yearwood, he says they will not touch base pay for teachers, and there won't be any teacher layoffs. Second, the district will look to make significant cuts to the central office, like we said before, to scale back costs. And third, Yearwood says preserving educational programming for students will be top priority.
We are going to preserve teachers and the daily rate of pay. We're not laying off teachers. I want to be very clear with that. That's not happening, laying off teachers, no.
When I asked Brian Yearwood if he knew just how bad JCPS's financial situation was when he took the job to replace Marty Polio, he said this.
The number that I was given was not $132 million at that time.
That $132 million is what Yearwood says the district has to cut for the 2026-27 school year. To get there, the district will look to slash spending at the central office, made up of several buildings, including the one we were in for this news conference, the Van Hoos Education Center. Chief Financial Officer Eddie Munns confirmed they'll be selling assets.
That's unavoidable at this time, but we will, depending on our actions now, that will determine how much and to the extent we have to do that.
Yearwood said overspending from previous budget surpluses and now depleted COVID relief money has put them in this hole.
This condition we're in today, we should not be in this. We shouldn't be in it, and we are not going to be in it whenever we get through with this process.
Is there any way to solve this financial crisis without a property tax increase?
In my opinion, we will not be looking at taxes to help this condition. We must balance our budget first.
JCPS leaders have about 3 months to get a budget proposal together that'll roll back spending for next fall. And tonight, the school board has called a special meeting to consider the approval of a third-party auditor whom the district has already selected. Their job would be to evaluate JCPS's budget and find areas to save costs. Doug.
Isaiah, thank you. Right now, more top stories tonight at 5. The Louisville Fire Department's investigating what caused a business fire at BLC Industries on Strawberry Lane. It makes air filtration and HVAC products. We have been looking at smoke from the fire today and then crews working to put out the blaze. According to firefighters, the fire happened just after 1 this afternoon at a docking bay at the business on Strawberry Lane. It took crews about 40 minutes to get the fire under control. No injuries have been reported at this time, and we'll bring you further updates here on WHAS 11 News. Also tonight, a person is recovering after being rescued from a house fire in southern Indiana. Authorities say at about 6:15 last night, the Jeffersonville Fire Department responded to a structure fire in the 1800 block of Dutch Lane. Once they got there, firefighters found a person still inside, a resident, and quickly worked to get them out. That resident was taken to a local hospital by EMS. We do not know their current condition or the nature of the injuries. The fire was brought under control within 5 minutes, according to firefighters. The cause of the fire is still being investigated. All new right here at 5 o'clock, a disagreement between Kentucky Senators Mitch McConnell and Rand Paul over hemp regulations has now spilled over to Kentucky's House of Representatives. Representative Jamie Comer and Representative Morgan McGarvey penned a letter opposing newly opposed limits on how much THC is found in hemp products like CBD and Delta-8. McConnell calls the limits closing a loophole in his 2018 Farm Bill. If you're not familiar with the bill, here's a little more about it. In 2018, President Donald Trump signed the Agriculture Improvement Act. The Farm Bill moved hemp off the federal controlled substances list, which then made it illegal to make products derived from hemp like CBD and Delta-8. It caps the allowable THC levels at 0.3% by volume, both in the hemp plant and in hemp products. WHAS11's Ian Hardwick reports a lower limit might kill the industry.
At Cornbread Hemp in Louisville, around 100 people work producing hemp-derived products like these CBD gummies. Some people use it to fall asleep or relieve pain. Senator Mitch McConnell pushed for the bill making hemp growing legal, but now wants limits on the THC found in the end products.
Young children are consuming these snacks thinking they're candy, not poison. On top of that, these products are easily accessible and be purchased at convenience stores.
McConnell calls it closing a loophole.
We're not operating in a loophole.
Cornbread co-founder Jim Higdon says his business expansion is threatened by a federal proposal that would ban any quantifiable amount of THC in hemp products.
Even our CBD products contain a little THC, but if the hemp products industry is not allowed to have any quantifiable amount of THC, there will be no market for that hemp that's being grown.
The THC goes in seltzers too, capped at 5 milligrams by Kentucky's state government. Here on the label, up to 0.3% hemp-derived THC. So it falls within the regulations of the current 2018 Farm Bill. However, with the requirements that any detectable amounts could end up in the end product, that would spell the end of the seltzers and the gummies too. Hemp farmer Brian Furnish opposes the regulation on THC levels.
You know, anything that you do when you affect the finished product comes back eventually to the farmer and how we produce it and what we can produce. You know, in Kentucky this year, there was about 9,000 acres signed up to grow hemp, and almost 90% of that is for cannabinoids.
However, he and Higdon support other regulations McConnell called for, like a 21-year-old age limit, plus lab testing and labeling requirements for producers. In Louisville, Ian Hardwick, WHAS11 on your side.
The Kentucky Poison Control Center at Louisville Norton Children's Hospital said in the last 10 years that 545 kids have been exposed to hemp-derived products. Over 773 have been exposed to actual marijuana. Here on this fall break week, we are joined again by our chief meteorologist, Mallory Schnell, with warmer days ahead. Mallory, it's just an amazing dry spell we've had. We had a little bit of rain that sort of took care of the drought conditions.
Right.
Are we inching anywhere toward those really dry conditions again?
Well, we could be, because we are looking at that stretch of dry weather to take us now through the weekend, above normal high temperatures as well. Starting off with that live look outside from our First Savings Bank Shriners Children's camera here over downtown Louisville. Lots of sunshine and blue sky, that quiet week weather, above normal high temperatures in the 80s through that 7-day forecast. And if you're hoping for rain chances, those don't return until likely early next week. Any kind of moisture on the map off to our east and southeast, along with that cloud cover as well. So we've had pretty much nothing but blue sky and sunshine today, with those highs running several degrees above normal, up to about 10 degrees above average for today's date, with temperatures back in the 80s across Kentuckiana. Thankfully, we have a nice breeze coming in from the east and northeast. Should be a pleasant evening. Once that sun sets, we'll quickly drop into the 70s and eventually fall into the 60s with some upper 50s outside of the city by early tomorrow morning. Clouds will increase throughout the day tomorrow, but expect another warm one with, yes, those high temperatures topping back out in the 80s. But as we kick off October, we'll take a look at that drier and warmer stretch of weather, talk more about when those rain chances return. That's coming up in our 7-day forecast. Doug.
Okay, Mallory, thank you. We have an update on a story we brought you last week in Indiana. A coach at a Warren County high school has been accused of forcing students to do bear crawls across the scorching hot track, leading to burns and serious blisters on their hands. That coach there in Indiana has now resigned. It happened on September 18th during majorette practice when temperatures were near 90 degrees. It is not clear right now, if any arrests were made or if any charges have been filed. Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg today giving an update on the future plans for construction and renovation of the main branch of the Louisville Free Public Library. The renovation aims to transform the library into a modern, state-of-the-art facility with better public amenities. Mayor Greenberg says as of now, no plans have been finalized and the city is considering all options before making a final decision.
Improving the main library is critically important. It's the heartbeat of our library system. It's incredibly old and outdated at this time. That's long overdue in need of repair. We have the funding available to make it happen, but we have to make sure it's done in the safest way.
And there's the main branch on York Street, part of the city's original library system. The mayor went on to say if the library would have to temporarily close for construction, the city would work to ensure that nobody would lose access to any of the amenities available at the library. Instead, the mayor says there will be another location made available to the public with all of the same functions. September is Law Enforcement Appreciation Month right here in Louisville. And to celebrate, the Louisville Metro Police Foundation unveiled 2 new high-visibility vehicles today. The additions, which sort of look like super-powered golf carts right here, are funded by the Honorable Order of Kentucky Colonels, Kelly Construction, and individual donors. According to Metro Police, these vehicles will provide patrol officers with a safe way to remain visible to downtown Louisville's residents, workers, conventioneers, and tourists. They'll mainly patrol downtown streets. Unlike traditional police cruisers, these vehicles will be exclusively used in downtown Louisville to cover territory more efficiently.
We were able to get these 100% funded at no cost to the city and equip these officers to go out and do their job even better and safer and with more community. And what kid doesn't like to walk up to something like that? My 3-year-old will be like, let me get in that. So it's just so exciting that we've been able to accomplish this.
Louisville Police Foundation is celebrating their 20th anniversary this year, and they state again their commitment to supporting LMPD officers and making the community safer. Later on WHAS 11 News at 5, here tonight on WHAS 11 Plus. We've got an update for you on Imelda, now a Category 1 hurricane. We're going to be tracking its path as the East Coast could still feel some effects by this weekend. But first, shutdown showdown. We're just hours away from the possible government shutdown deadline of midnight. The reason experts say this one could be much different for your money.
And here's a check of today's Kentucky Lottery jackpots. Mega Millions, $497 million. Powerball, $174 million.
The Kentucky Lottery, funding education for over 1 million Kentucky students.